Hi guys, welcome to the channel. This is what if Naruto has true potential. Before we start, remember to like and subscribe to help the channel. Also check the description for the creator of the fanfic. Chapter 13. Foreigners and exams. The three jonin students stood in front of their sensei, panting heavily. The team had just went through another rough day of training and were now awaiting whatever orders Anko would give them now. Brats, aren't you all used to this already? You guys shouldn't be so tired. Anko laughed. Used to it, kind of. Doesn't change that it's physically exhausting. Shikamaru pointed out between breaths. Hey, whatever, Anko shrugged. Although, despite the fact that you guys shouldn't be so tired, I will say you all are making great progress. I can tell you guys are getting tougher. And by now, I can say that the jutsus have been working with each of you in your private sessions, and the jutsus we've been working on together are pretty much spot on now. You've all made noticeable progress, so good job. Naruto, Hinata, and Shikamaru gave their sensei a wide smile despite their heavy breathing. So yeah, why not you guys take a break? Relax. No missions for today, Anko informed them, a smile on her face as well. Besides, I got something I need to do today as well. What? Hinata asked for the group. Anko put her finger to her lips. Just tell us, Naruto demanded, giving his sensei a dirty look. Hey, whatever, sure. The snake summoner shrugged. Basically, the Chunin exams are coming up in less than a week. I'm supposed to go to a meeting and say if I think you all are ready to take it. All three jonin stared at their sensei in shock and anticipation. The three of them seemed to no longer be tired. And, are you recommending us? Naruto asked. Well, most likely. In the end, the decision belongs to you guys. But I'll give you all the permission to take it because quite frankly, you all can take it. Anko stated. Hey, awesome. Naruto cheered excitedly. Once we pass, we'll be Chunin. That's one step closer to being Hokage. Hinata smiled, both at her crush's excitement and at her sensei's words. Troublesome. Shikamaru mumbled. Unlike his friends, he wasn't as excited about the exam due to all the work involved with it. Don't most genin have at least a year of training before they take it? I don't think many rookies take the exam. Most don't take it the first time, but I know plenty of teams back in the day who took it fresh out of the academy. Anko responded. Besides, I proctored the exam the last time it came to Konoha, so I kind of know what it takes to get through the exam here, and I believe you all are ready. Trust me, I wouldn't give you permission to do it if I didn't think that you guys could do it. I'll honestly be shocked if you can't get to the third stage of the exam. The three genin members of Team 3 looked at their sensei with shock evident in their face. They were surprised at how much faith she had in them. If you say so, Shikamaru replied, a smirk now on his face. Maybe this won't be that bad. We won't let you down, Anko-sensei Datbeo. Naruto shouted with a grin on his face. Now, get on over to your meeting and recommend us. I know you won't, their sensei replied before making her favorite hand sign and disappearing in a poof of smoke. Ah, I hate it when she does that. Naruto grumbled. We need to corner her the next time we see her and force her to teach us the Shunshin. Or you could just learn it yourself. It can't be that hard. Shikamaru shrugged. The blonde Uzumaki replied by sticking his tongue out. A few seconds of silence passed by Team 3 before Naruto decided to speak. Well, I'm off, you guys. I'm going to get some ramen. I guess I'll see you both tomorrow, he said as he started to walk off. Naruto-kun, oh 1 second. Hinata spoke up. The boy turned back and faced Hinata. The girl was playing around with her fingers and had a red blush over her face. Well, the girl started, shaking her head in embarrassment due to her stuttering. Well, we have the day off. Would why you like to go somewhere together and eat or something? Shikamaru immediately started to cough. Seriously? Of course. Naruto's eyes lit up at the question. Hinata's embarrassment turned to excitement as she gave her crush a large smile. It's been a while since the three of us just hanged out somewhere. I'm game. Hinata's excitement immediately faded away, realizing that Naruto misunderstood what she was asking. Shikamaru noticed her disappointment and decided to step in. I can't. Dad wanted me home as soon as possible today for some clan stuff. Sorry. The Nara heir shrugged. You guys have a good time without me. Really? Damn. Naruto cursed before he turned back to Hinata with a smile. Well, I don't mind if it's just us, if you don't mind. Hinata's excitement came back as she gave the blonde a smile so wide that she had to close her eyes. I don't mind. Alright then, so where did you want to go? This was your idea after all. The blonde pointed out. Her nervousness about Naruto's answer now gone, Hinata could speak freely. I wanted to show you the bakery I always go to. You haven't gone to it yet after all. Oh yeah, that's fine with me. Let's head on out. The blonde stated. Later Shikamaru. Bye Shikamaru-kun. Hinata stated. She gave the Nara heir a knowing look. Thank you so much. Later. The boy replied while giving Hinata a similar look. You're welcome. Naruto and Hinata walked off on their own, Hinata leading the way. Shikamaru watched the two for a few seconds before he walked away in his own direction, a smirk on his face. Hey, Hinata really has changed. Good for her. Shikamaru noted. Naruto and Hinata headed off to the bakery Hinata was talking about. It was a small, gray shop called Panya located near the entrance to the village. When they arrived, Naruto ordered himself a few pastries and sat down in a seat. He was unprepared for the sight he was about to see. Hinata had gotten a little more than half a dozen large cinnamon rolls. The Hyuga heiress sat down at her own chair and started to devour her sweets quickly. Damn Hinata-chan, you really do have a thing for cinnamon rolls. Naruto exclaimed. He knew this was her favorite food and he had seen her eat one or two before, but he had never seen her eat this many this fast. The girl stopped eating for a second as her face turned slightly red. In a second, though, the redness faded and a teasing smile appeared on the girl's face. True, but you're just as bad with ramen. She informed him. That's different. You can't just eat a few bowls. The blonde retorted. And you can't just eat a few cinnamon rolls. There is no difference, she replied. A moment of silence passed before the two genin started to laugh loudly. Conversation carried on from there as the two discussed anything that came to mind, from their daily training sessions to pranks Naruto was planning to a few books that Hinata was reading. The two members of Team Tree talked freely with no limits. It was during this conversation that Naruto truly noticed something. Hey Hinata, your stutter is gone. He stated. Huh, the Hyuga heiress looked at him strangely. Yeah, now that I think about it, you really don't stutter anymore at all. Naruto elaborated. Only around people you don't know or if you're really embarrassed. You really don't stutter anymore. Hinata mumbled in thought, a smile appearing on her face. I guess so. I've been getting more confident in myself. I can tell. That's great. Naruto cheered. And it's all thanks to you. She told him, her face turning red again. Really? The blonde asked. He then started to chuckle. Well yeah, I guess time with a team as crazy as ours really must help. Especially Anko-sensei. Hey, definitely. She has helped a lot, and so has Shikamaru-kun. Hinata agreed, her face still red. Still, I owe most of it to you. Really? The blonde asked, now starting to look confused. Why? Spending all the time we have with each from the academy and in our team has just helped. Your smile and your enthusiasm are contagious. The Hyuga heiress giggled. Your determination is admirable. You encouraged me to believe in myself more so that I can be as strong and confident as you are. I really owe it all to you Naruto-kun. Really? Naruto asked. His face was starting to turn red himself. Wow. I'm glad to help out. Thanks for thinking that. Hinata noticed something and couldn't help but point it out. Naruto was really influencing her after all. Hey, look who's stuttering now. She teased her crush. So. Naruto mumbled, shaking his head in defiance. The two friends continued to talk from there, even after they finished their food. After another hour, they got up and walked out of the bakery. We need to do stuff like this more often. That was fun, Naruto said, a large smile on his face. I agree, Hinata replied, her smile even wider than her crush's. So I guess I'll see you tomorrow. The blonde asked. Of course, Hinata replied, her confidence at an all-time high. She did something she never imagined she could do. She walked up and gave Naruto a hug. See you tomorrow Naruto-kun. The hug surprised the Uzumaki, but he quickly returned it. See you tomorrow Hinata-chan. The two genin then walked their own way back home. Hinata's face was slightly red and she had a smile on her face that showed no signs of ever disappearing. I can't believe it. I just asked Naruto-kun out on a date. I just hugged Naruto-kun. Hinata cheered in her head. A few months ago, her actions and these feelings would be enough to cause Hinata to faint. Hinata, however, was not the same girl. She was now much more confident. A strong, proud kunoichi of Konoha. I know Naruto-kun probably didn't see it as a date. I know he probably doesn't like me like that. But, this is a good start. Hinata's smile somehow grew larger. Maybe it's a sign that one day he will. Nothing could happen that day that would ruin Hinata's mood. Anko was one of the first to arrive to the meeting room. She took a seat in the back and waited impatiently for it to start. Seconds turned to minutes. The room started to get filled. She was soon joined in the back by Sarutobi Asuma and, to everyone's surprise, an on-time Hitaki Kakashi. When the time finally came and everyone was here, the Sandaime Hokage decided to walk to the center of the room and speak. "Alright, everyone, I think it's about time to start," Sarutobi said. "As well all know, it is time for this year's Chunin exams." All eyes focused on the Hokage. Each shinobi in the room were giving him their full attention. Sarutobi began the meeting by discussing the nature of the Chunin exams, something they all knew, but something he enjoyed reminding everyone about. Once he finished, he started to go into the true purpose. "Now, are there any Jonin senseis that believe that their Genin squads are ready?" The Sandaime asked. One by one, Jonin stood and gave their recommendations. Anko watched with only mild interest. This whole process was boring her. Really boring her. She just wanted it all to end so she could leave already. After about 7 recommendations, a Jonin with bushy eyebrows and green spandex on stood up and gave the Hokage a thumbs up. "I, Maeda Guy, recommend my wonderful students, Rock Lee, Hyuga Neji, and Tenten, for this year's exams," he proclaimed with a grin. His teeth seemingly shined after his words. The whole room sighed. Guy's an idiot, but his team must be pretty damn good if they survived him and his training. Anko thought to herself as more senseis were giving their recommendations. "I'm sure they'll provide some competition for my brats at least." After a few more recommendations, it was now the turn for the senseis sitting in the back, the senseis of the rookie Genin. "I, Mitarashi Anko, recommend Uzumaki Naruto, Hyuga Hinata, and Nara Shikamaru for this year's exams," Anko proclaimed. What? Yumino Iruka, one of the few Chunin in the room, gasped. His attention was now focused on Anko. "I, Hitaki Kakashi, recommend Uchiha Sasuke, Inuzuka Kiba, and Haruno Sakura for this year's exams," Kakashi stated after her. "I, Sarutobi Asuma, recommend Aburame Shino, Yamanaka Ino, and Akamichi Choji for this year's exams," Asuma added. "Hey, looks like I wasn't the only one. All rookies are coming in," Anko thought to herself. "Interesting," Sarutobi said to himself with an amused smile. "Very well then. Then, Hokage-sama, I beg that you reconsider your decision to let these Genin teams in." Iruka spoke up. All eyes turned to the academy instructor in the room. Teams 3, 7, and 10 are still rookie Genin. They've only just started their careers as shinobi. I suggest they wait a year to develop further as shinobi. By then they should be ready to take the exam. Hiruzen sighed. "While I understand your logic, it is not against any law or rules for rookies to participate in the exams. If their senseis believe they are ready, then they can participate." Iruka, in response to the Hokage's words, turned around to face the 3 senseis once again. "Then I ask you 3 to reconsider your recommendations and give them more time." "Relax, Iruka," Anko replied. "I wouldn't recommend my brats if they weren't ready. They're kids though," he retorted. "I was younger than them when I earned my promotion." The snake summoner shrugged. "Same," Asuma spoke up, helping Anko's point. "I was around the age of your youngest students in the academy when I passed the exams." Kakashi added nonchalantly. "They aren't you. They aren't like any of you." Iruka shouted. "Naruto's not, Sasuke's not, Shino's not, none of them are. People die in these exams. You all should know that." Anko noticed that Iruka's words were more filled with concern than anger. The Tokubetsu Jonin was about to respond and try to quell his worries, but Kakashi spoke up first. "Iruka, the second they passed the true Genin exam, these kids left your authority and are now under ours. Team 7 is not your team, they are mine. If they are ready, then I would know it. Don't act as if you know better than us." The one-eyed shinobi spoke sharply. Iruka's eyes widened. He opened his mouth to speak, but no words came out. He had no argument. "Harsh," Anko whispered to her friend. He needed to hear it. Iruka's a good guy, but he has to realize that they aren't his students anymore and that he shouldn't coddle them. Kakashi told her. "I think that's enough of that." Hiruzen spoke up, gaining everyone's attention. The Hokage continued to discuss details of the exams to everyone. After he finished, he decided to tell everyone one last bit of information. "Before we end this, I would like you all to let your Genin know to be on their best behavior. Shinobi from other villages have already started to arrive in Konoha. He told everyone. With those words, the Hokage walked out of the meeting room. Everyone was dismissed. Naruto had left the bakery in a very good mood. He had spent with Hinata before, but this time was different. He didn't know why this time in particular made him so happy, but it did. He had fun hanging out with her. A lot of fun. The blonde was in such a good mood that he wasn't really paying attention as he walked back home. The Uzumaki bumped into someone. A boy that had war paint on, wearing a black full-body suit with a hood, and was carrying on his back some object wrapped up in white bandages. Naruto grumbled to himself before he turned to the other guy. Sorry about that, you little brat. Watch where you're going. Naruto's eyes narrowed. Look. Sorry about that. He apologized again. The blonde started to walk away, but the other guy walked in front of him and blocked his path. Not gonna happen, kid. Brats like you need to learn to give respect. He informed him, cracking his knuckles. I already apologized. Twice. Stop being stubborn and accept it, damn it. Naruto retorted, raising his hands in annoyance. Kankuro, don't make a scene. The two turned their heads in the direction Naruto had come by. They both saw a girl wearing a white garment that went from her shoulders to her thighs. She had a scarlet sash around her waist and she wore fishnets over her shoulders and her legs. The girl also had a large fan attached to her back and wore a forehead protector for Sunagakuer tied around her neck. Naruto then noticed that the guy in front of him, Kankuro, was wearing the same forehead protector. They were both Suna shinobi. I'm not starting anything, Tamari. I'm just giving this brat a life lesson. Kankuro informed her. Shut up already. Like a guy who wears makeup could give me any life lessons. The Uzumaki rolled his eyes. Kankuro turned back to the blonde boy, his eyes red with anger. He immediately moved a hand to the object on his back and started to unwrap it. Naruto, in response, got in a fighting stance. He then cleansed his mind and started to pay attention to the environment around him, ready for any possible attack. It was at this moment, in this state of mind, that he felt the presence of a third figure. Just asking, though, is that guy with you? He asked the Suna shinobi, pointing to a nearby tree. Kankuro and Tamari took a look at the tree and were surprised at the sight. Standing underneath a branch on the tree was a boy wearing a black full-body suit with a white sash over his shoulders and a gourd attached to his back. Gee Gaara, Kankuro gasped. Kankuro, you are an embarrassment to our village. The boy, Gaara, spoke in a monotone, cold voice. The war paint-wearing shinobi was about to respond, but Gaara cut him off. Shut up, or I will kill you. Kankuro said nothing, only shivered in response. He and Tamari both turned away. Naruto watched the scene with an urge to throw up. What the fuck? This guy reeks of killing intent. He thought. The boy with red hair disappeared in a spiral of sand and reappeared on the ground in front of Naruto. Up close, the Kyuubi Jinchuriki noticed that the boy had the kanji for love written on his forehead. I apologize for my brother's stupidity. He told the blonde. It's okay. No worries. Naruto replied, rubbing the back of his head nervously. Who are you? My name is Sabaku no Gaara. The redhead stated. I'm curious about your name as well. Mine. The blonde questioned. I'm Uzumaki Naruto. Uzumaki Naruto. Gaara repeated the name. I'm also curious how you were able to sense me. Very few shinobi have that ability. I have pretty good senses. Naruto shrugged. I meditate a lot. I can sense things better than most ninja my age. Meditation? Gaara seemed disappointed with the answer. He continued to stare at Naruto until a small, sadistic grin appeared on his face. I sense something in you. You are like me. Naruto gave him a strange look. Why is he smiling like that? Are you participating in the Chunin exams? Gaara asked. I think so. Naruto replied. I look forward to seeing you then. The redhead stated, his grin wider than before. He then turned away and started to walk. Kankuro, Tamari, we're leaving. The other Suna shinobi nodded obediently before following him. Kankuro made sure to glare at Naruto before he and the other shinobi disappeared. What the hell was that? Naruto asked himself. The blonde continued to walk towards his apartment. Even when he arrived home, his mind replayed the events that he just witnessed. That Gaara guy was my age. How does he have so much killing intent around him? And what did he mean we are the same? I saw nothing like me in him. Shikamaru didn't lie to Naruto and Hinata. His father did want him to come to discuss some clan business. It, however, only lasted 30 minutes. Shikamaru left his clan's compound after the meeting and went out into Konoha for a walk. Nothing unusual happened at first, leaving Shikamaru to his thoughts, just as he preferred it. He was about to head to an open field to take a nap in when he heard some noise. You shouldn't even be here. Just get on out. I'm here for the exams. You and your little dog can go shove it. Shikamaru stopped his walk. That voice, was that? The Nara changed directions, heading towards the source of the commotion. A few steps later, he arrived at it. Two shinobi were arguing with each other. Both of them were very familiar to the Nara. One was Inuzuka Kiba, a classmate and acquaintance of the Nara. He was accompanied by his dog, Akamaru. And the other, Kuretsuchi. He spoke up. The two ninjas stopped arguing and turned to face the Nara. Kuretsuchi gave him a surprised look before a grin developed on her face. Lazy ass. It's good to see you. She exclaimed, causing Shikamaru to sigh. Man, I'm starting to hate that nickname. Shikamaru, you're just in time. Come on, help me get rid of this trash. Kiba shouted at the Nara. Akamaru barked in agreement. Kuretsuchi immediately turned her attention back to Kiba. Alright, shut the hell up, mutt. Can someone tell me what's going on? Shikamaru asked, rubbing his head in annoyance. An Iwa ninja got in. Kiba exclaimed dumbly, pointing right at the brown-haired Kunoichi. So what? She hissed. I already told you, I'm here for the Chunin exams. You know, those things that happen twice a year where genin go to get promoted. I'm not a kid, you know. I know what they are. The Inuzuka growled back. What I'm saying is that Konoha would never allow an Iwa shinobi to take the exam while it's here. Newsflash, kid. They did. Now mind your own business. Kuretsuchi shot back. Damn. Shikamaru was almost impressed with the level of tension in the area. Not fully impressed, though, because it was giving him a headache. Alright you guys, shut up. Shikamaru grumbled. Both shinobi turned to face him. Kuretsuchi, you have proof, right? Like a passport or something? Well duh, she grumbled, raising her right hand. She was holding on to the passport. I've been trying to show it this guy, but he just won't accept it. Kiba, if she has proof, then you can trust her. She's here legally, Shikamaru told his fellow Konoha shinobi. The Inuzuka gave Shikamaru a surprised look, both from his apparent relationship with the Iwa Kunoichi and from him saying that she could just stay here. This look soon turned to a scowl. I knew you were lazy, but I thought you were a decent guy, Shikamaru. Didn't know you associated with Iwa. He growled quietly. Akamaru growled in unison with his owner. The boy walked away, grumbling to himself about the situation. Troublesome. Shikamaru sighed. Tell me about it. Kuretsuchi sighed as well, more in relief however. A smile then appeared on her face. Really? It's good to see you. Likewise. Shikamaru replied. So, you're taking this year's exams. Where's your team then? Yup. And Han-sensei is, somewhere. I have no clue where he ever is. But my teammates are in our room at the inn. Risho didn't want to associate with the Konoha shinobi for too long and Roto was uncomfortable with all the looks the people here were giving him. She replied. It was then that Shikamaru noticed all the eyes on them. Citizens were walking by and glaring in their general direction at the Kunoichi. Yeah, our village wouldn't really be hospitable to any Iwa shinobi, I guess. Troublesome people. How are you doing then? Shikamaru asked, trying to see if his friend was bothered by the animosity directed towards her. Hey, I've been better, but it's no big deal. She shrugged. Some looks and words aren't going to kill me. I was just walking around the village and seeing what it was like. Seems pretty fun. The Nara noted. Yup, but it'd be more fun to go around with someone. Want to come with? Kuretsuchi asked. Really? He groaned. I was just going to go take a nap. Oh no. Hell no. Now you have to go with me. Stop being a lazy ass and show me around your damn village. Kuretsuchi demanded. The Iwa Kunoichi grabbed the Nara by his shoulder and started to walk off. She's still as troublesome as last time. Shikamaru did not get a chance to nap for the rest of the day. The members of Team 3 met up at the training ground. Anko was holding paper forms in her hand, which caught the attention of her genin. So are we in? Naruto asked excitedly. If you're asking if these are the forms for the exams, then yes, they are. Anko replied. Hell yeah. The blonde cheered loudly. The snake summoner chuckled to herself before speaking again. So yeah, I got the recommendation forms for you guys and stuff, so you all can take it. But the decision really is up to you. So, do you guys really want to do it? Hell yeah, Naruto replied eagerly as he snatched one of the forms from his sensei's hands. This resulted in him receiving a smack in the head. OWW, don't just take things from me, Whiskers. She grumbled before turning to Hinata. What about you? A month or two ago, Hinata would have hesitated. She would have had to think about if she really wanted to enter and would have ultimately entered solely because she wouldn't want to let her team down. In the present, however, having gone through multiple missions and becoming more confident enough to ask Naruto out, her answer was immediate with no hesitation. Of course, she exclaimed, a smile on her face. Anko smiled back to her as she handed her the form. And you lazy ass, Anko asked the third member of the team. Hey, why not? I'm alright with it. Shikamaru shrugged. He took the form from his sensei as well. Good. Glad to see you are all ready. She told her team. Anyway, the exam is in 5 days, so we don't have much time until then. So, yeah, let's get training started. And trust me, this will be brutal. The smiling and excitement stopped. All 3 genin of Team 3 merely shivered to themselves. 5 days of hellish training passed. The genin of Team 3 walked up the academy, the location for the start of the Chunin exams. You all ready? Naruto asked as he opened the doors. As ready as we will ever be. Shikamaru answered. Hinata merely nodded in agreement. The 3 friends walked inside and headed up the stairs towards the 3rd floor. Hinata noticed a genjutsu on the 2nd floor, so the 3 continued walking up another set of stairs and avoided the commotion on the 2nd floor. On the 3rd floor, they found the room of the exam. They also noticed another person standing outside, their sensei. Anko sensei, what are you doing here? Hinata asked. The sensei of Team 3 shrugged. Cause the senseis are supposed to make sure you all showed up. I don't really know. Waste of time for me. I knew you'd all show up. The 3 genin sweat dropped. Shikamaru also mumbled something about his troublesome sensei under his breath. I know you all don't need luck. I know you'll kick some serious ass. I'm expecting you 3 to get promoted to Chunin by the end of this thing. Their sensei stated, a proud smile on her face. So get in that damn room and show them what you're made of. Don't embarrass me, brats. Anko then used her shunshin and disappeared in another poof of smoke. Naruto grumbled under his breath about his sensei's obsession with that jutsu, which caused Hinata to giggle. Well, we heard her. Let's get in and do this thing. Shikamaru spoke up. His 2 teammates nodded in agreement. The genin of Team 3 walked. It was now time for the Chunin exams. 2 weeks prior to the Chunin exams, shit, I am late, I am so late. Anko cursed in her head. The Tokubetsu jonin was sprinting throughout the village heading towards the Konoha Academy. On her way, she barreled past any person she ran into without a second thought. She was just focused on getting to the academy. Ibiki is going to be so pissed. But how I was supposed to know that the meeting was today? Nobody tells me these things anymore. She ranted in her head. Anko's thoughts started to calm down after she arrived at the building. She ran inside and immediately walked to a room on the 2nd floor that had no class. The snake summoner opened the door to the room and walked inside. In the room, there was a large round table. Anko recognized nearly everyone there. Kotetsu and Izumo were sitting in the front and looked as if they were about to fall asleep. Hayate was sitting in one of his chairs, coughing up a storm. Other random ninja Anko knew were scattered in the seats. Ibiki was sitting at the very end, speaking to everybody. So, that means you two, Kotetsu and Izumo, will be in charge of weeding out weaklings before the Ibiki's words were cut off as he turned to face the person who opened the door. Sorry that I'm late. None of you bastards told me that the meeting was today. Anko stated in her traditional manner. Anyway, sorry to interrupt, Ibiki. Continue from where you last left off. All eyes were on Anko, who had walked over and taken a seat next to Hayate. Anko, what are you doing here? Izumo asked. What does it look like? I'm here for the meeting. You know, the meeting where we discuss how we are going to run the Chunin exams. She replied, rolling her eyes. We know what meeting it is. We're here after all. But why are you here? Kotetsu questioned. PSH. Anko scoffed. Didn't realize you two were that stupid. Don't you remember that I am in charge of the 2nd exam whenever the Chunin exams are held in Konoha? Anko-san, not this year though. Hayate informed her before coughing again. The sensei of Team 3 gave him a puzzled look. Anko, you have a genin team this year. And it is fair to say that you will recommend them for the Chunin exams. Ibiki told her. Therefore, you can't proctor the exams. It would be considered unfair, considering you could give them hints on how to handle the exam. Huh, are you serious? Anko asked. That's bullshit. It's how it is, Ibiki retorted sternly. Well, who else is going to be the proctor? She asked angrily. That would be me. Anko then turned at the new voice and her eyes widened. Sitting a few seats down from Ibiki was her best friend, Kurenai. Kurenai, you are replacing me? Anko asked incredulously. It was either her or Genma and we chose her. Ibiki answered. But she's never proctored the exams before. The snake summoner nearly whined. But you've only done it once, Anko-san. If that's the case, then you shouldn't have been allowed to do it last time. Hayate retaliated. But, the snake summoner started. No buts. Anko, you are not a proctor for the exam this year. Now leave. You're wasting our time and you're embarrassing yourself. Ibiki informed her strictly. Anko remained still in her seat for a few seconds before she scowled and disappeared in a shunshin. The other shinobi in the room sighed in response. Well, she can be pretty moody. Katetsu mumbled. You're telling me? Ibiki scoffed. After working with Anko for the past few years in torture and investigations, he knew just how moody she could be. Anyway, we wasted enough time. Back to where we were. I can't believe they replaced me like that. I know I have a team, but still. Anko mentally groaned. And this is why I hate having jonin sometimes. They just take the fun out of things. Damn it. Well, can't drone on it forever I guess. I'll just have to do my part to make sure Kurenai is the best damn proctor ever. With those thoughts in mind, Anko hurried off in the direction of her best friend's apartment. After the meeting, Kurenai went out to dinner with her fellow jonin, Sarutobi Asuma. When they finished, Kurenai went back home to relax and go to sleep. As she walked up to her apartment, she noticed a scroll on her door. A kunai was stabbed into it, holding it up. Curiously, Kurenai took the scroll, opened it, and started to read. How to be a badass proctor for the exams. She read in confusion before continuing to read. So, you think you have what it takes to be a proctor for the Chunin exams, huh? Well, don't be so cocky. You have a lot of responsibility, monitoring unruly genin from all over the damn world. It's a hard job and most shinobi can't take it. But you really think you can? Well, then let me give you some helpful advice. Follow my guide and I guarantee you'll be one step closer to being a badass proctor. Step 1. The entrance. When you introduce yourself, make it flashy. Stand out. You want to surprise the genin. Make them realize what kind of shinobi you are, an awesome one. Signs in breaking glass are a personal favorite of mine, but feel free to be creative. Step 2. You. Remember that you are the proctor. You are the one with a higher rank. You are the one who has control over them. They have no control at all. Remind them of this. Make sure they know that they should fear you. Step 3. The killing intent. Release it. Oh, for the love of God, release it. These genin need to know what they are dealing with. It's a dark, cruel world in the life of shinobi and the faster they realize it, the better. Do your part and make sure they realize. Step 4. Stupidity. Genin are stupid. They are very stupid and say very stupid things. A stupid mouth can get you killed, so show them that. When you have the urge to show a brat a lesson, don't restrain yourself, go for it. Snap at them, release more killing intent, cut them, etc. Do something. Show those brats the price of stupidity. Step 5. The Forest. Oh, Training Ground 44, how I love thee. It's nicknamed the Forest of Death for a few reasons. Let the brats know every single reason. These are all the steps that I, the glorious author, can think of at the moment. Have any questions? Please stop by Training Ground 17 or the author's apartment to ask away. Have a good night. Mitarashi Anko. Sensei of Team 3, best Chunin exam proctor ever. Badass writer Kurenai stared at the scroll in her hands for a little over a minute before she tossed it to the side and face-palmed. Why did I accept this job again? She questioned as she went off to bed. The Genjutsu mistress of Konoha was now going to bed with a large headache. Thanks for listening. If you want the next part of this video, be sure to like, subscribe and comment and hit that bell notification. See you next time.